out right now. So she's coming home from class with her boyfriend, who's a guy that you are never going to meet. And he's got his arm around your future bride. And he's saying, baby girl, I love you so much. I'm always gonna be here for you. Your eyes are so beautiful. And she's like, oh, you're so sweet. And he walks her home and he sits her down on his couch and he's like, hey, baby girl, you feeling fine? Because you looking fine, you know. She's like, stop. And I said to the guy, I was like, dude, I go, you know what's going on that couch, don't you? And he was like, yeah. And I go, that guy? I said, that guy, he's emotionally manipulating your future bride into giving him oral sex, trying to make her think that if she gives him that, he'll like her more when he's just using her more. I go, does that bug you? And the guy was like, ooh, gross. No, I don't care. And I was like, really? Does it bug you at all? He looked at the floor and he's like, no, I don't care. And I go, what if it was going on right now as we speak? That guy doing that with the woman who will kiss your children goodnight. Does it bother you? The guy was like, the guy next to him in class was like, oh, I'd be kicked off. And the guy's like, what? And I said, see, it's pretty easy. If you don't want some guy going there with your future wife, it's a good place to draw the line as well. And this is not a condemnation of any of us. It's a calling to all of us of a better and a deeper kind of love. And I'm not gonna stand up here in front of you guys and say, you men in the audience, you guys have to be like me. Because it's a joke, it's a lie. If you're a guy and I'm a guy, we're identical. Look in your heart, same thing as mine. There's this desire to lust after girls, but then there's this desire to properly love a girl at the same time, and there is a tension. But I want you girls to realize the guys you're sitting next to, we've all been lied to about manhood. We're supposed to learn it from our dads, but a lot of us guys haven't seen our dads since we were 3. Some of us see our dads every day of the week, but we hardly even know the guy. No matter what our relationship is with him, we've been lied to at some point in the locker room that, dude, if you want to be a man today, dude, you gotta get some from the girls. Because if you get some with ladies, dude, you're the man. But think about it, get some from a girl. Getting some sounds like a couple of like 7th graders, and they sneak into a convenience store and they shoplift like Jolly Rancher candies, you know, and they're like, you know, and then they like run into the parking lot, they're like, you know, they run funny because they're all disproportionate because of puberty, they're like, you know, their feet are too big and their knuckles drag. And then, you know, they get into the parking lot, and then they hide behind a dumpster, and they pull the candy out, and they're like, I got a red one and a grape one. Whoop, a grape one. Did you get some? Did you get some? And you notice the same mentality. Dude, you get some with that chick? Dude, you sexually conquered that girl? Because if you emptied of her innocence, you robbed her purity, dude, you're the man because you emptied the girl. And we know that this is totally missing the point of manhood. I don't get my manhood by emptying a girl. I get my manhood by denying myself for love of a girl. But how is a guy supposed to sacrifice himself for a girl? Well, to be honest, the reason, honestly, why I always confused love with lust in high school is because the influence in my life back then of the pornography. And the thing is that when the teenage girls find out that teenage guys struggle with the pornography, it's not that the girls are all mad at us. They just feel sorry for us that we can't relate to women in a more interesting way, because as a guy, the pornography as a guy is the perfect way for a guy to shoot his future marriage in the head. Because it trains me that girls, they're things to be used for my kicks. She's got to be constantly sexually available, physically flawless, and when you get done bored lusting after, you go to the next fantasy, and it's no big deal at all, because you can judge the value of a woman by how much lust she generates in me. And we would laugh it off. And I'm sure there's some guys in the audience, and in their heads right now, they're thinking, dude, whatever, I got some porn on the internet, and I got some Maxim magazines, it's not a problem, I'm not getting anyone pregnant. And while he laughingly tries to think it's not a problem, almost desperately try to convince himself, what happens to a young guy is he gets emasculated. Emasculation means that when a young man is robbed of the ability to be masculine. And pornography flips that backwards, so we men learn to sacrifice and empty the girls for the sake of ourselves, and we miss the whole point of manhood. And in high school, we would totally laugh it off. We're like, dude, who cares? I'm not getting anyone pregnant, it's all good. I'm not killing it, I'm not hurting anyone. We'd have no clue what we were looking at. You know, Pamela Anderson, the big supermodel for, out in Los Angeles, you know when she first posed for Playboy? The limo drove her to the pornographic studios. They did all her makeup up, she disrobed, then she started crying. She finally pulled herself together, they redid the makeup around her eyes, and they took the nude photos. That when you're looking at porn, you're not looking at just some naked body, you're looking at the corpse of a woman's heart. But we would laugh it off, saying, dude, I'm not hurting anyone. We don't realize how much we're hurting ourselves. You know, Maxim magazine, it's a new smutty magazine they have for guys. You know, Maxim magazine has paid computer companies up to $20,000 a pop to generate fake cover models. I'm not saying she's airbrushed. Her legs are fake. Her face is fake. Her breast is fake. The whole woman is completely computer generated. So we as guys are trained to expect our wives to live up to this impossibly perfect fantasy. And where does this leave our brides one day? I had a friend in college who had all the porn, and he basically assumed, dude, who cares? I'll throw the porn away when I get married. I'm getting married in a few months. Then you can have sex whenever you want. It's all good. And I went to his wedding, beautiful wedding, and the guy was divorced in 3 months. All that he did was transfer the fantasies of lust from the porn onto his bride, and the marriage was done as soon as it began. So if you think you're gonna get married as a guy and you have the porn, ask yourself one question. Ask yourself, dude, is my bride's body, is it worth waiting to see? Or is she frankly not even worth waiting to see? Because if I can trash the porn tonight, I'm training myself in faithfulness before I ever even meet that girl. You look at the pornography, it takes like 20 seconds to look at it, then it takes like 20 years to forget what you saw. And you as a guy could imagine if your future wife is at home from school right now. She's on the computer. She gets an email to invite her to visit some pornographic website of guys. I would imagine you would pray that she would have the strength just to delete it. Imagine you're carrying your wife into the honeymoon suite for your wedding night, and she's got her arms locked around your neck. And she says, honey, I'm so excited about tonight. And you're like, me too, me too, me too, me too. Walking her in there, and she says, honey, to get ready for you tonight. And you're like, She says, honey, to get ready for you tonight. She says, I've been looking at thousands of pages of naked men on the internet. You'd be like, yeah, babe, maybe waited all life, but don't you sort of have to wait with your eyes? And that's what it comes down to. If I can't say no to sex, what's my yes even worth? Having come with me from San Diego is my fiance, Crystalina, so please give her a warm welcome. Come on up, hon.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, now, I'm coming from a completely different angle than Jason here. When I was about a sophomore in high school, I had my first serious relationship. And after a while of dating, we thought we were in love and everything was great. And slowly, we started to get very physical. And slowly, the pressure started to set into the relationship. And he said, well, girl, if you really love me, if you truly love me, you'd prove it to me. You'd show me just how much you love me. So I needed advice. So I went to my girlfriends and I said, well, he kind of wants to do this with me, and he wants to do that. And they said, well, if you aren't doing this with him, and if you aren't doing that with him, then I mean, well, what's wrong with you? Everybody's doing it. You love him, right? And I thought, well, yeah, I love him. They said, well, then what's the problem? So at the age of 15, I lost my virginity, thinking it was going to cause this huge, great emotional bond between us. We were going to be on cloud 9 and so in love. And in all actuality, it eventually destroyed any love in the relationship, and all respect was just thrown out the window. Because if I couldn't even respect my own body, how was he supposed to respect it? And after a while of dating, it seemed like he didn't want to spend time with me anymore. He was basically spending the time with my body. Now, when a girl is being used, she knows it. She knows it in the depths of her heart. She may deny it, she may ignore it, but she knows it, and I knew it. And after a while, we were constantly fighting. He was cheating on me, and we broke up and went our separate ways. Now, I will never forget the day when he walked away from me for the very last time. And as he walked away from me, all I could think about was that guy's taking something with him that never belonged to him in the first place. But I can't get it back, right? What's the point? It's already gone. So there I was in the cafeteria talking with my girlfriends. And I came to this conclusion, okay, if a guy can date me for about 6 months without sleeping with me, then he must love me. Then I'll sleep with him. And I think now 6 months, 6 months is the price that I put on my body. If he gives me just a little bit of that time and just a little bit of that attention, that's the definition of love. And I carried this mentality all through high school. He was the first guy that I slept with, but he wasn't the last, because it starts a vicious cycle. And after a while, I was pretty deep into it. Now, I'm not standing up here pointing my finger at you guys, saying, you guys, you're the problem. No. I happen to believe that you guys will be as much of a gentleman as we ladies require. Now, I wasn't acting like a lady back then, nor dressing like a lady back then. Therefore, they didn't feel the need to rise up and act like a gentleman around me.